Welcome everyone. Welcome Rotary Club members and all other guests here at Morgenstern Books. I'm Mitch Kaplitsky. I help do the public relations here, and I want to welcome, thank you Gabe for bringing Rotary Club into the store today. I want to introduce Rick Morgenstern, who is the founder of Morgenstern Books, and he's going to talk for a few minutes about the Morgenstern story. It's really interesting. And we're going to have a little time for questions. And then I understand we're going to do a little tour of the store. So without further ado, I'm going to pass it on to Rick.
Okay. Well, welcome Rotary Club to Morgenstern. I recognize some faces. I think some of you have been in already. And if you haven't been in yet, thank you for coming. I haven't really prepared remarks. I thought I'd just talk. I think it'll go better if I just talk. And I was talking with Mitch, our PR man for the company, and we thought it might be good for me to tell the story of the first bookstore, and then in between, and then the story of the new bookstore. Gabe, could you give me like a 5-minute warning when I'm getting close to where you want me to be? So I'll try and keep it in that time frame. Well, I started as a bookseller when I was 16 years old. And I came to IU to go to school, and I got a job as an undergraduate at TIS Bookstore. And that's how I got into the book business here. I was there for 12 years. And at one point, TIS acquired a property right next door to it. And I had been there several years running their general book department. And I approached the owner of the business, Ray Tishner. Some of you may know or remember Ray. And I said, let's do a bigger general bookstore. I think the town could really use one. And I put together a business plan and shared it with him. And he debated over it and said no. And I said, well, okay, I'm going to do it anyway. Said it to myself. And so I dreamed about it for 5 years, planned it for a year, and got a business plan put together, and got together 5 investors, 6 counting me, and we opened in 1990. And we were a great success from the beginning. The business was in operation for 6 years. In 1995, we had 2 national chain stores move into town. They were the primary national chains at the time. One was Borders, and the other was, of course, Barnes & Noble. Borders lasted until 2011 before they closed down nationwide. And Barnes & Noble, as you may remember, went out of Bloomington in 2019. So in the fall of 1995, we had a freight train hit us. Both stores were in total together 8 times our size. One was directly next door and one was 2 blocks away. So we lost 70% of our business in 7 months. It was just a nosedive. And I remember getting together with my investors, and they really pretty much supporting me and saying, we'll do whatever you want to. What do you want to do, Rick? And I told them, I said, I can't in good faith have you put any more money in this business to help keep it afloat. I think you're just going to lose it. So we closed the business. And that was a real life blow for me. I had worked in the book industry for 20 years. It was my passion. My wife at that time worked in the book industry with me in the book business. Our kids grew up in the store. We were a beloved community store. And all of a sudden it was gone, just gone. We didn't do anything wrong. We pretty much did everything right. And the community really embraced us. But when the big guys came, it was like fireflies to the brightest light. That's how consumer behavior is. Those of you who have been in business know that. I didn't feel like we owned the marketplace. You know, the marketplace is fair game for any company to come in and go for success. We happen to be a casualty of 2 companies that did that. That trauma, that tragedy was very costly to me. It cost me a 20-year marriage, had to sell my home, lost all financial security. We had everything put into the bookstore. It was a very, very difficult time of life. My best friend Steve is here to support me, and he's been through the entire thing with me. He knows the whole story, and he reminded me as we were visiting right before I started a little something to add here, which is a pretty cool little side story. I felt that during that trauma, my family and I needed to have a break. So right after the store closed, which was in the end of April '96, we were selling our house, and we loaded up the family pop-up camper and hooked it to the back of the minivan and pulled out of Bloomington and spent the next 2 months traveling the United States, camping in national parks and KOAs and seeing all the sights. We did 21 states in 2 months, 9,000 miles on the minivan, and it was a memorable experience. So that kind of set the stage for the next chapter. I tell people when I talk about my experience that it's not during times of success, for me anyway, as an entrepreneur, where I've learned. It's during the times of trial and failure. That's when I really, really learned about business in general and what my path as an entrepreneur became or was, is. And I learned lessons about what's important, what loyalty means in the current marketplace. And that's been true for the last 25 years. And it's helped inform me about planning the new business. Again, we're attempting to do the same thing we did the first time, which is really become connected to the community through events and sponsorships and charitable donations, authors, children's programming, just a whole litany of things that a strong independent bookstore can be for a community. We're doing that again. But I don't have any blinders on about how important that stuff is. At one level, it's important to be connected to a community. And at another level, there are fundamentals of business that absolutely must be in place for a small business like this to have any chance of making it. And it became glaringly true to me during the time of the loss of that business. And I could talk the rest of the day about that.
I mean, like, what do you talk about?
So when the bookstore closed, I went into perseverance mode. I had to wait 25 years. I chose to stay in Bloomington. I had the choice to stay in the book business and leave Bloomington, stay in the industry, or stay out of business. I couldn't sell books here anymore and reinvent myself. So I opened 3 or 4 different businesses over the years, none of which did very well at all. Put food on the family table, but that's about it. They weren't wealth creators of any kind. Had several jobs, went through a lot of deep emotional processing around the loss, did a lot of personal work, had a reconfirmation of my faith, which was a huge support to me during those years, still is. I'm part of a men's support organization called the Mankind Project. It's an international men's organization that was tremendous support for me during that time. And I hung on. And I never lost track of a dream maybe could come true again someday here. When Borders left in 2011, that was the first step. And I knew it at that time. Didn't know how long Barnes & Noble would be here, but in my opinion, both of those stores were too large for this town, especially together. I don't think either of those stores really ever made the kind of profit that they're used to making in one of their branches. And so when 2019 rolled around and Barnes & Noble announced they were leaving Bloomington, I put together a letter and I sent it to the editor of the Herald Times. And I asked the community, this is at the end of 2018, and I said, what do you think if we open it here? Would you support us? And I really asked it in an open way. I didn't know. I didn't know what kind of response we would get. I did know that over the years, over that 25 years, as I had other businesses in town and people saw my last name a number of times, I would say dozens of times, I would get the comment, are you the guy that had the bookstore? So I knew that there was fond memory in the community for the business. What I didn't know was how much of it there was, and was there enough of it to support an enterprise like this happening again. So the responses came in from the letter to the editor, the end of 2018. We got between Facebook and phone calls and emails, we got about 350 responses, overwhelmingly positive, saying, please, please bring this back. So it was very affirming for me. It meant that something that we had done a long time ago made enough of an impression in the community, even though we went out of business, that it meant something and it had lasting value. So from that letter to the editor, people contacted me and said, would you partner with us? We would like to support you. We would like to do a bookstore in town. And that's how investment team came together for this. We went into a process of looking for locations. In Bloomington right now, good commercial locations this size are few and far between. There's just not much out there at all. And we were blessed and lucky to be able to land this. Terry Curry has this property. And when he got word that we wanted to work with him, he was thrilled about it. And he's just been wonderful to work with. He's proud that the bookstore is here. So I think it's an ideal spot. We've got great parking. This is the destination business, so we don't need to have College Mall Road visibility. We can be a block up and still be fine. So we got the building December of 2020, and for the next 7 months, we went through a process of transforming the space from a former Pier 1 with its red tile floors to what you see now. And it's quite a process to outfit a store like this. We have a team of 4 buyers, and we've worked with national suppliers to put our inventory in, and that's a large project by itself. Fortunately, I've had some experience doing that, and we had a special team working on it. So we've gotten great compliments about the quality of our stock. And we've also gotten a lot of compliments about the design of the store, how the fixturing looks, gotten a lot of compliments about our staff and how friendly we are, how personable we are, how helpful we are. So there's a large team. There was a large team the first time, dozens of people who made that dream come true. And there's been a large, very talented, very strong team this time that's worked together and helped make this dream come true again. We have around 40 people on staff now. And we have a core management team. We have a very strong ownership team, and we've got a great front line. And we've been open now for 3.5 months, so brand new. The first week we opened, we were overwhelmed with the community coming in. We could barely handle the business that came in the front door the first week. It's settled off, it's backed off some since then, but we're strong. And we just this week put together a budget for 2022, and it looks strong. So, you know, I think we have gotten past at least the initial shock of getting a business open. And I think we've got traction enough now that with some good fortune and the lack of national chains coming into Bloomington again, we very well may be able to stay around for quite some time. Did I get everything, Nick? Am I forgetting anything? Yeah, I think that's what I have to share with you. That's been the journey. And yes, sir.
How do you take inventory here so you know what book sold that needs to be replaced? What book sitting here too long needs to be replaced?
We have a fully integrated point of sale inventory system. That's a proprietary product, and we have a subscription service to it. And it tracks at point of sale what's sold, and we can also run reports on stale inventory. And we have a team of 4 buyers that works every day on our stock levels and the quality of stock we have coming in. The book business is an interesting business. For years and years, it was a cottage industry, kind of a mom and pop industry. Everybody was small. And the industry has really matured now. And actually, the development of the 2 national chains, Borders and Barnes & Noble, moved that along to mature the industry. Now there's some really heavy players in the industry, and it's a lot more sophisticated than it used to be. But even at that, it's still a cottage industry. So there's a lot of folklore in it. Really, to be good, have this kind of a stock, you really have to have some knowledge and experience in the industry. Stuff that you just can't pick off the shelf in a handbook or a YouTube course and do it. It really is kind of a folklore cottage type industry. So long answer to your question.
2 things. 1, will you repeat the question when
I sure will.
And 2, how do you identify what categories are going to be important?
Okay. So how do we identify what categories are going to be important to the community? The team of 4 buyers, I'm one of the buyers, has industry resources that we can work with. Pretty much a store like this is set up with 2 major categories in the book business. One is called, the industry term is called front list, and one category is called back list. Front list is all the new stuff that comes out on a seasonal basis. Backlist is all the core inventory that's been around since Moses was writing. And that's where the folklore knowledge comes in, is with that end of things. So I had a really good head start in Bloomington 30 years ago. And then over the course of the 6 years we were open, we developed category specialties that were really connected with the strengths of the community here in Bloomington. And so we've been able to take that industry knowledge and apply it in this situation. So that's how we kind of set up our categories to begin with. And then, like fiction and children's and science fiction and mystery, those are categories that no matter where you go, they're going to be strong in any bookstore you go to. So, there's help there from the industry. That's how I can answer that. Yeah. Back there and then up here.
So how do you utilize technology in ways that you sell online as well as in person?
So when I developed the vision of the business, I wanted this to be a gathering place where people can unplug from the world. So our intention is to be low tech out on the selling floor and high tech behind the scenes. So you won't see much in the way of devices out here. We have, as I answered the question earlier, we have a very robust point of sale inventory system. Mitch, our public relations man, does a lot with social media and a digital newsletter. We use those technologies a lot. We have a website with e-commerce. People can buy online from us. Yeah, I would say those are the main things. Yes.
So my question kind of dovetails on that. Are you having to deal with all this supply issues? How long does it take to order a book? That kind of thing.
So are we having to, I'm repeating the question, are we having to deal with the supply chain issues that the rest of the world is dealing with? How long does it take to order and get in books right now. I don't see that, at least for our experience, our new experience in the industry, it's really affected our supply at all. We have a major national supplier, as most bookstores do. It's a company called Ingram, and they're out of Tennessee. They supply the entire United States as a primary wholesaler, and they haven't missed a beat for us and us placing our orders. And I think in an expanded way, the little bit that I can tell right now, there's still a lot of printing happening in the United States, a lot of book printing happening in the United States. So I think it's not been as disruptive as with some other industries. So we can, for most of our stock, we can order on a Monday and have it back in stock on a Tuesday or a Wednesday sometimes. Sometimes if we go direct to manufacturer, it will take up to a week. But you know, we are definitely a just-in-time inventory business. Yeah. Yes.
I'm a Michael Freed fan, and I missed when he was here in person. Is there a way to still access?
So you're a Michael Carita fan. You missed his last visit in person. Is there a way to access his video talk? The answer is yes. Mitch has put all of our author talks on our digital newsletter. They're also available on our website. So you can go to either one of those. If you're not getting our electronic newsletter, it's a really, really good piece that Mitch puts out every week. And we can take your email address and get any of you on that if you're not getting it and you have interest. Or you can go to our website and we have links there for every one of our author talks that we've done. Yes, Dave.
Two questions from the internet.
Two questions from the internet.
First one is,
How do we choose one?
logo?
How do we choose the logo? Oh, that's an interesting one. So Morgenstern in German means morning star. And I was raised in the Protestant church. Our denomination was Moravian, which is a very small Protestant denomination. So it's got religious background for me, the logo does. The morning star in the Moravian church is our primary icon. And it is represented in the Moravian church by these stars that you see above you. So the logo that we've chosen is a takeoff of Morgenstern, or the morning star. And so it's kind of a neat, combination thing. So
So the second question, you're an author yourself. Can you speak to your experience as an author in dealing with bookstores, particularly independent bookstores?
yeah, I do have one published work. I've just made it available to independent bookstores through Ingram, the wholesaler I talked about before. It's easy. It's a much easier process now to be an independent author that self-publishes, because Ingram has a program that works with self-published authors. So if any of you are in that process, I highly recommend you get in touch with Ingram about it. It opens up a world of independent bookstores across the country that authors like me can market our work to. So I don't really have a lot of experience yet in selling to independent bookstores. I can tell you from the other side, we really encourage self-published authors, local authors, to bring their work in. We want to support it. We have, I would say, maybe as many as 24 authors represented already in the store. And we feature them in our local authors section. So it's an important thing for us to support. That's how I can answer that. Yes.
One more question. You mentioned there's some groups or some topics that are always popular in bookstores.
Yes.
Is there any topic or category that's particularly popular in Bloomington that would be unusual to be popular in a city with similar demographics?
So the question is, I talked about categories that are popular in any bookstore. Are there any categories that are popular here because of Bloomington itself? One that comes to mind is music, because of the Jacob School. and we're working on that category now. In our original store, that was a very strong category for us. I'd say the other one would be basketball, maybe. We've got a lot of titles on that subtopic, and that's always a really popular topic in Canada. Oh, thanks. Yes, speaking of IU sports, this coming Tuesday from 6:30 to 8, the former athletic director at IU, Fred Glass, will be with us signing copies of the book he just published through IU Press called, is it Making Your Own Luck? Is that it? Making Your Own Luck. Fred will be here to talk to people, and I've gotten to know him a little bit from our working on this thing together. Delightful man. And you may all know how valuable and important he has been to the university and the athletic program there. So if any of you have any interest, that's happening this Tuesday night at 6:30. 6:30, right? Yeah. Yes.
Kind of segue into my question, is your relationship with the university?
Yes.
And they frequently get honors for national for various departments of relationships.
Well, we're new to it. Oh, so the question is, what's our relationship like with IU in terms of getting authors in our store that IU has brought in for talks at the university? Does that summarize it? It's a bit of a sticky wicket with IU right now because Barnes & Noble operates the university bookstore on campus. And so they have by contract, they are the exclusive seller of books for any person that comes on campus. A recent example of that is an author called David Sedaris, who's going to be at the auditorium beginning of December, and he's a major name in the publishing world. He'll be in town. We reached out to his publicity agency to get him in the store, and they said, sorry, a local bookstore, and I know it's Barnes & Noble, is already selling books at that event. So anything going on at IU on campus looks like it's off hand for us, unfortunately. At this point, as far as we know. Mitch.
I have a question. Have you seen any changes from the 90s to today in terms of what is selling? What are people buying now?
Well, certainly the popular authors have changed a lot from then until now. Category sales look like they stayed about the same. Technology is what's been, especially, the marketing channels, the social media channels, that's been the revolutionary change in the industry, as it has been in the entire culture in that 25 years. But there's still so much in the book industry that's not changed. The old saying is the more things change, the more they stay the same. That's true in this context from what I've seen. Still, most of it is just the way it was at that time. That's how I can answer you. Who else? Yes, sir.
Most of your customers come in with a book in mind or come in to browse.
Yes, sir. Oh. I would say it's probably half and half. I can answer that this way. There's a notion of the third place. Some of you may have heard of that notion. It's out in the popular culture and in the business press right now. And the notion is, I've got my house and I've got my place of work. I want a third spot where I can hang out. And so a lot of people come in here to sit in a coffee shop and have a cup of coffee and be around books, or they come in here just to meander through the stacks and see what surprises them. So it's a real, and we intended it to be this way, and fortunately, it's working out this way. We intended this to be a gathering spot where people can come in to browse. And I would say if I'm going to lean in one direction or the other, we get more browsers than we get people coming in with specific requests. To answer your question.
A lot of them come in as a browser, but I would.
Thank you. We're doing our job. Yes, sir.
What's the biggest difference from the operation that you first had to now? You mentioned the point of sale. What big changes have you noticed?
A big one is in marketing. We used to do traditional advertising, newspaper, radio, billboards, television, printed newsletter. Boy, now it's all digital. That's where you have major impact, and a lot of it is driven by social media. I'm not a social media user, but if I put my blinders on about that, I'm not paying best attention to our business. So marketing and the marketing channels is a huge change from 25 years ago. And I'll tell you another change. This is an interesting one. At that time, 25, 30 years ago, there would be the shop local mantra going around, and people would pay lip service to it. They thought it was a nice idea, but nobody really did it. I'm seeing more and more today, people intentionally like coming in here. Instead of buying something on Amazon, they'll come in here, they'll pay more money because they want this business here. And the shop local movement has really gained some traction. I'm not sure it's completely in the mainstream yet. I actually don't think it is, but I think it's strongly moving now. So that's a big change in 25 years. I'd say those two would be tops on the list of what I've seen. Are we good? Anybody else?
I think we're good. I think we'll stop recording. If you'd like to lead us through some of your highlight spots for the space, I don't think that's going to translate well to Zoom, so I think you can follow.
Okay, I want to, for the recording, I want to say thank you. Very grateful to and honored to have your Zoom guests and the members here physically from the Rotary Club. Y'all do great work, and we're proud to have you. Thanks so much for coming.
You have a book drive, right?
We have a book drive going on.
What's that?
Mitch, you want to speak to that?
Sure. You see right here, we partnered with an organization that's donating books to Middleway House. So if you want to buy a book here or anywhere in the store, we'll donate a portion of the proceeds to Middleway House. Books themselves will be donated to Middleway House, supporting various programs. It's just a nice example of how we're trying. Rick and Sam and the other owners are super conscientious about, working with other organizations and individuals in the community to give back.
Thank you.
That's it.